Hey everyone, Texas Highwayman here, and today we're going to look at the long-awaited upcoming replacement of the I-10 Loop 1604 interchange on the northwest side of San Antonio. If you're one of the 250,000 drivers who pass through this interchange on a daily basis, and especially if you're one of the half of that number who actually use the ramps that connect from I-10 to 1604 or vice versa, then you know the challenges that this now obsolete interchange poses. Because it is a cloverleaf, the locations of the ramp terminals and the required yielding causes congestion during peak periods and throughout the day due to the high volume of traffic this interchange now carries, and creates a major choke point for the region that the new interchange will alleviate. Now, it wasn't always like this, of course. This is what the area looked like in 1935, long before there even was a Loop 1604. And this is what it looks like today. Loop 1604 in this area was built around 1961 as a two-lane farm road, and this was the much quieter intersection here in 1973. And this, of course, is what it looks like today. After UTSA was built nearby in the mid-70s, work began on Phase 1 of the Cloverleaf interchange around 1980. That phase built the northern two Cloverleaf ramps, as well as all the lower-level access roads. The remainder of the interchange was built in the mid-1980s and is the interchange that is still in use today. It functioned well until the early 2000s, when traffic volumes began to exceed its design capacity. A replacement interchange has been in planning for 2 decades, but has been repeatedly delayed due to chronic funding shortages in the first decade of the century. But work finally began in July of 2022 as the third in a series of projects to expand Loop 1604 on the north side. For more information on those, see my other videos about those projects. I'll put the links down in the description. Okay, let's take a look at the interchange. As we fly around it, you'll see it's TxDOT's standard modern stack interchange, similar to 1604-281 and I-10-410. But this one has some additions and improvements over those other two. Let's pause our fly around here for a minute. So this technically is a 5-level interchange, and is the third 5-level interchange in San Antonio, with 1604-281 and 151-410 being the other two. The 5 levels are the top 2 levels of flyover connectors, then the Loop 1604 and I-10 main lanes, and then finally the access roads on the lower level. Now I'll point out here that 4 of the 8 connectors have 2 lanes: eastbound 1604 to eastbound I-10, westbound I-10 to westbound 1604, eastbound I-10 to eastbound 1604, and westbound 1604 to westbound I-10. Or in other words, all of the eastbound to eastbound and westbound to westbound connectors. For the most part, those are the ones with the highest traffic volumes, and that's why there'll be 2 lanes. Let's continue our fly around. Here you'll notice the elevated structures fade away a bit so we can see the lower level more clearly. Let's pause again here for a minute to look at that lower level. First, notice the new layout for the access roads. Currently, the lower level access roads are in a box configuration with signals at the 4 corners. But as you can see, the new configuration has these bulbed out curves in the corners, which will not be signalized. This is being called the Fidget Spinner by engineers, and I'll go into more depth on it later in this video. Also note the large rectangle here. That's the VIA Park and Ride, which will remain. However, it has been redesigned and will be reconstructed. VIA has moved the bus stop to this far eastern edge of the lot, and the lot itself will be rebuilt with islands, sidewalks, and a more structured layout than the current lot. And over here, you'll notice another parking lot. This is intended as an overflow lot for the Leon Creek Trailhead, which is over here. There will be sidewalks and a crosswalk so folks can safely get from this lot to the trailhead. This lot could also be used as an overflow for the park and ride, and there will be a crosswalk along here to facilitate that as well, although it will be a bit of a walk to the bus stop. All right, let's continue our fly around. As we come around the northern side of the interchange, I'll pause again for a moment to point out these. These are known as collector-distributor roads, and what they are essentially flyovers or bypasses for the access roads to skip the lower-level intersections. So, if you're on the eastbound I-10 access road, for example, and want to continue straight through the interchange today, you have to go through the lower-level access road intersections. But with the new interchange, you'll enter the collector-distributor road here, pass over the lower level entirely, and then re-enter the access road on the other side, or enter the I-10 main lanes here. The same thing exists for the westbound I-10 access road here, as well as both directions of 1604. Note that the collector-distributor roads for I-10 and Loop 1604 do not intersect. If you're familiar with how the exit from inbound I-10 to Crossroads Boulevard works, or the exit from westbound 410 to Fredericksburg Road, that's how these roadways will function. Okay, let's finish our fly around. As we come back around, I'll point out the highest connector in this interchange will be the eastbound 1604 to westbound I-10 connector. It will be about 130 feet high here in the center. So if you have an aversion to heights, you might want to consider using the access roads instead. So let's take a quick look at how you'll enter and exit the interchange from the two freeways. This is important because the locations of the entrances and exits will, in some cases, be substantially different than they are today. Let's start with Loop 1604. For 1604, we're just going to look at the actual interchange connections. For more detailed information on the changes for the other ramps and main lanes along here, see the corresponding Loop 1604 expansion videos I mentioned earlier. We're starting here on 1604 in front of UTSA. The exit for I-10 from eastbound 1604 today is way up here, but the new exit will be here, just before you pass over La Cantera Parkway. As you can see, it will be a two-lane exit. If you've driven along this section recently, you've seen the columns for this flyover going up along here. As we roll to the east a bit, here's where traffic coming from I-10 will enter Loop 1604 westbound, which is just prior to the La Cantera Parkway overpass. As we continue to the east, you can see the elevated structures run the entire length here, which is about a mile, before reaching the interchange itself. More on that in a minute. As we pass over the interchange, we can see the layout for Loop 1604 on the other side. Again, just like on the western side, there will be a mile-long stretch of elevated lanes. They'll pass over Vance Jackson and continue all the way to Lock Hill Selma Road, where they'll tie into Loop 1604 on both sides. So traffic coming from I-10 will enter eastbound 1604 here just after passing over Lock Hill Selma. And traffic on westbound 1604 will exit for I-10 just after passing over Lock Hill Selma. So some of you may be wondering why such long elevated approaches. Part of it has to do with the height requirements between the levels of the interchange, ground elevation differences, and making sure the ramps aren't too steep, which would cause larger vehicles to slow down. But the main reason here is for proper ramp spacing. With the proximity of the intersecting roads along here, and taking ramps for those into consideration, as well as right-of-way constraints, they had to squeeze the touchdown locations for the interchange ramps into the locations where they would have the least impact on overall traffic flow. Those long approaches will affect traffic patterns for those going to or coming from locations in the immediate vicinity, and I'll talk about those in more details in a separate video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to get notified when that video is posted, and I'll also put a link for it when it's ready in the description of this video. Okay, let's flip over to I-10. There are a few changes to I-10, mostly north of 1604, which is where we'll start. As we come around, I'll first point out this ramp here under the flyover. This will be the new exit for La Cantera Parkway for westbound I-10. As you can see, they've pulled it significantly further back from its current location, about a half a mile or so. This will allow traffic to more easily change lanes on the access road approaching La Cantera Parkway, make getting to the restaurants and hotels here on Rim Pass much easier and safer, and will provide access to the new Leon Creek trailhead here. Next, I'll point out the exit to Loop 1604 from eastbound I-10, which is in about the same place the current exit is today, here in front of the Motel 6. As with the exits on 1604, this will also be a two-lane exit. Also, note the wide paved median here. This is for a future extension of the HOV lanes, which currently end at Camp Bullis Road. As we continue to the north, you can see that the elevated connector from Loop 1604 continues along here and is 3 lanes. It finally descends here just before reaching the La Cantera overpass. At this point, there will be a split in the connector. The left 2 lanes will enter I-10 westbound here, while the right lane will exit onto this short flyover that passes over La Cantera Parkway and merges onto the access road up here in front of the Bass Pro Shop. From there, drivers who want to get to the rim can move to the right and turn right into one of the two entrances up by the row of restaurants in front of the Lowe's. You'll also notice that there's an entrance to that La Cantera flyover from the access road here. This will allow traffic that's on the access road approaching from the south to bypass the La Cantera intersection. It will join that traffic coming from the Loop 1604 connector here and descend to the access road in front of the Bass Pro Shop. Taken together, these changes should help reduce the congestion at the La Cantera intersection. With this new ramp configuration here, the exit from westbound I-10 to Camp Bullis Road had to be relocated. It will now be further up here, exiting I-10 by Worth Parkway and joining the access road just north of Rim Drive. Finally, on the eastbound side, note that the entrance ramp from La Cantera that's currently here has been removed. If you travel this area often, you know that the stream of traffic entering from La Cantera conflicts with traffic trying to exit to Loop 1604, so removing that ramp will eliminate those issues. Instead, traffic from La Cantera will continue down the access road and either enter the collector distributor we talked about earlier to enter eastbound I-10, or will turn left or right below the interchange to get to eastbound or westbound Loop 1604. South of 1604, there are fewer major changes. Unfortunately, TxDOT's video rendering of the interchange doesn't cover the section inside 1604, so we'll have to look at the schematic for this area. First, we'll look at the locations where the interchange ramps tie into I-10. If you're coming from Loop 1604 to eastbound I-10, the flyover will end and merge into the I-10 main lanes here in front of the Security Service campus, so it's a little bit further south than today's entrance. On the westbound side, the exit to Loop 1604 from westbound I-10 will be here at Presidio Parkway, also a little further south than today's exit. Moving to the south, we see that the current eastbound exit to UTSA Boulevard will be removed. If you're on eastbound I-10, there will be an exit for UTSA Boulevard back at the Loop 1604 interchange. If you're coming from Loop 1604 and want to exit UTSA Boulevard, you won't have this exit anymore. That's one of the traffic pattern changes I'll be discussing in a future video. The reason they had to remove this exit is because of its proximity to the new entrance from 1604. It was too close to that entrance and therefore would have caused too much weaving and conflicts, like you see at westbound Loop 410 in San Pedro. On the westbound side, the entrance from UTSA Boulevard will also be removed. This ramp already causes excessive weaving and conflicts today, and would be even more problematic in the future with the new exit to Loop 1604 being even closer. Traffic coming from UTSA Boulevard wanting to enter westbound I-10 will be able to do so further down. Finally, the existing westbound entrance ramp here from De Zavala Road will be straightened and lengthened. Okay, so let's finally talk about those lower level access road intersections, referred to by the project's engineers as the Fidget Spinner. So here's the schematic of the interchange, and here are the access roads. These here are actually the access road through traffic flyovers we talked about earlier. If you're on the access road and want to continue straight through to the other side of the interchange, then you'll use these to bypass the lower level entirely. So let's remove those from the diagram so we can focus on just what's on the lower level. And let's remove the rest of the schematic and zoom it into the core of the lower level. If you look at the center of what's left, you can see it resembles one of those fidget spinner toys that were popular a few years ago. Now I know some of you are probably saying, hey Brian, fidget spinners have 3 sides. And yes, the most popular version was 3-sided. But indeed there are 4-sided fidget spinners. And for that matter, there are 5-sided ones, 6-sided ones, and even 8-sided ones. But I digress. Okay, back to our fidget spinner. At this point, you're probably wondering, what the heck is this? This looks really confusing. But it's really pretty simple once you break it down. Each corner of the fidget spinner is really just a small roundabout that's just missing 1/4 of the loop, like this. And, just like a roundabout, the entrance to each will be controlled by a yield sign, like this. And so, since once you get past that yield sign, you now have the right of way while you're in that partial roundabout, as well as in the larger fidget spinner, the whole thing is, in practice, really just one big, if oddly shaped, roundabout. Now, not everyone will actually have to use the fidget spinner. If you're wanting to make a U-turn, there will be turnarounds on all 4 approaches. The 2 for Loop 1604 are already there today, but 2 more will be added for each direction of I-10. And if you want to turn right, there will be dedicated right turn lanes that bypass the roundabouts, similar to the right turn lanes that bypass the signals today. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be flyovers for traffic wanting to continue straight through that will take you over the fidget spinner, both for I-10 as well as for 1604. So that really just leaves traffic wanting to turn left that will need to use the roundabouts. So let's take a look at the process to turn left from one direction, in this case from westbound I-10 to westbound Loop 1604. The process is the same for all 4 approaches. As you approach the first roundabout, you'll have to yield to any traffic already in the fidget spinner approaching from the left. Then, you'll enter the partial roundabout and veer left to stay in the fidget spinner. As you approach the next partial roundabout, you'll have the right of way and will veer left again. Finally, as you approach the third partial roundabout, you will still have the right of way. This time, you'll veer right to leave the fidget spinner and continue on your way. Now, at this point, you may be wondering why they did this instead of just leaving the signalized intersections. The answer is that this should be much more efficient than those signalized intersections. With the bulk of traffic using these intersections turning left, engineers wanted something that was optimized for left turns, and this fit the bill. Since drivers only need to yield once upon entering, they should be able to get completely through the entire thing in less time, and with less stopping, than they would with the signalized intersections, especially since most drivers don't realize they can turn left on red in this situation. And should conditions at some point warrant signals again, they can be easily installed without having to reconstruct the intersections. Alright, time to answer the question everybody wants to know. When will this all be done? Of course, we all want it to be done tomorrow, and yes, even TxDOT and the contractor also want it done as quickly as possible. But as you can see, this is a massive project with lots of bridge construction, all of which has to be done while maintaining traffic flow. The contract calls for 1,502 working days, or just under 5 years, so the projected completion date when work started was mid-2027. But as we all know, things happen during construction that can cause delays, and sometimes contractors are even able to knock out projects faster than expected, so that projected completion date is likely to change. So be sure to check my website at texashighwayman.com for the latest estimated completion date. So there you have it. Now you know what's coming at the I-10 Loop 1604 interchange. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video informative. I plan to have future videos about other projects, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for more details on this project and other highway projects around San Antonio, or to learn more about San Antonio's roads and highways and their history, check out my website at texashighwayman.com. Till next time, drive safely.